have a brief rule here. So if I ask you to convert 24 inches into feet, how many feet is that again? 2 feet. And you do that in literally 1 second. We're going to break down all those steps. So you guys don't really need the rules for a simple problem like 24 inches into 2 feet. But when we get to much more complicated problems, you will need the steps, okay? So there's a couple of rules first. Always cancel out your units. Always cancel out your units. Kind of get some notebook paper for me there, Bo. And always show your work nice and neatly. Always show your work nice and neatly. The people who do the best in my class are not the people with the most math talent. They are the people who are the most organized. Thank you, Ian. They're the people who are the most organized. Being the most organized is the key to success, okay? I can't emphasize that enough. So, we are going to take the 24 inches into 2 feet problem. I'm going to show you the 5 steps that go with it. Step number 1, write your conversions in the form of a fraction with units. In the form of a fraction with units. So on this particular problem, here's what I'm going to do. So I got the units. Just write as a fraction, 24 over 1. Not too bad, right? Not too bad. That's how I'm going to start it. So that's my step 1. Write it as a fraction. Step number 2, set up the conversion so the units cancel out, top to bottom. Set up the conversion. So what do you really have to write for step number 2? Cancel out your units. Units cancel out. So if you only wrote what I have here in yellow, that would be perfectly fine. Units cancel out. Hey, if I have inches on top, what's the only way I can cancel those out? If inches are on the bottom of the next one. This next one has to have inches on the bottom. What units am I trying to convert this into again? Feet, so I'm going to put that on top. Okay. Now, how many feet are in inches? What's the ratio here?
12 inches per feet.
Yeah, 12 inches. So that's how I know the 12 goes on the bottom and not the top, because it's going with inches. 1 foot. And here, you can cancel out your inches because they're on top and on bottom. You can't cancel out feet because there are no feet on the bottom. There are no feet on the bottom, so there's that. So that's step number 2. I cancel out my units. Top and bottom, if they have the same units, you're going to cancel them out. Step number 3. Do this until the units you want are on the top of the fraction. Hey, what units do I want here? What units do I want again? Feet. Okay, are feet at the top of my fraction? Yes, they are. So I'm going to put an equal sign because I don't need any more fractions, okay? Once you get the units on top that you want, just put the equal sign because you're done with your fractions. Step number 4 is you need to multiply horizontally. What do you mean by that, Mr. P? I'm going to multiply all my numbers on top. So here's a trick. Here's not a trick question, McKenna. What's 24 times 1?
24.
Yep, there you go. So we have 24 on top. And then on bottom, McKenna, I'll stick with you. What's 1 times 12? Okay, so I got 12 on bottom. So you see how I multiplied horizontally, just going across. So I multiplied all the stuff on top. Then I got all the stuff on bottom. So I got 24 over 12. I kept my units where they were. Lastly, we divide vertically. So I'm going to divide my top by my bottom. And Bo, what was that number? 24 divided by 12 is what?
2.
Yeah, you got it. 2 what? You got it. And whenever you have a final answer in a math problem, I want you to do this. Box it up. A circle is also fine, but you need to tell me, hey, Mr. P, I want you to grade this. Like, that's what you're doing when you circle it or box it up. Like, this is my final answer. That's what I want you to grade. Okay? Huh? You say it one more time? Oh, step number 4 is multiply horizontally. So, Damon, that's where I'm taking all the numbers up top and multiplying them. So 24 times 1 in this case.
So what if you have like 5 of those, you multiply all 5?
You multiply them all together, and then you just write whatever that number, whatever your calculator tells you, and put that on the top.
And then the bottom.
You multiply them all together, and then write that on the bottom.
Divide that.
The top one by the bottom one. Yep. Divide vertically, so you just take the top number and divide it by the bottom number. That's it. Alrighty. And that's what Bo actually did when he told us that 24 inches equals 2 feet in like half a second. So we're going to take a look at our first worksheet now. You guys are going to have a quiz early next week on this. It'll probably be Tuesday or Wednesday. We'll have a quiz over this. So not today or tomorrow or anything like that, but soon. Soon you'll have a quiz that looks just like this worksheet, okay? So your quiz won't be surprising. It's going to look exactly like this worksheet. A couple of things. Anything inside this box right here at the top, you do not have to memorize. You don't have to memorize any of that. Your quiz will have this conversion chart at the top. Does that make sense? You just need to know how to use it. All right. You also notice in red here, I've outlined this one I call the distance gateway. If you're ever going from American units to metric units, or metric units to American units for something with distance, you'll have to use that conversion at some point. So I kind of highlight that because it's a pretty important one. Because it lets you go from inches, which is American, to centimeters, which is metric. So we're going to do problem number 2 on our own here. Together as a class. 25.5 miles, we're going to convert that to meters, okay? So, first step, write it as a fraction. 25.5 miles over 1. Now, without writing any numbers, what units have to go on the bottom of this next step? Miles, right? Because I got to get those to cancel out. So what can I convert miles to? Feet. Okay, so I'll put feet up top. Notice I wrote the units before I ever wrote a number. Because that way it'll tell me what numbers to write. Because sometimes, like, you know, maybe you're Michael later on, you're like, wait, do I put the 5,280 on top or on bottom? I'm not sure where do I put it. The units will tell you, okay? So miles on bottom, so there's 1 mile. Feet on top, there's 5,280 feet. You see that? And that way you never get confused. You're like, oh, okay, as long as I'm organized, I'm good. And of course, I'll cancel out my miles here. I'll cancel out my miles, and I'm going to have to move this over. Uh-oh, that's not what I wanted to do. Is that it? Oh my gosh. So I want to highlight this. No! I'm losing my mind. I lost it. Okay. Do I want feet in my final answer? No. Okay. So what has to be on the bottom of my next one? Feet. What can I convert feet to? Inches. Okay. So again, I'm looking at my conversion table. Okay, there's 12 inches in 1 foot. Those cancel out. Just like so. So I'm getting a roll here. I'm on a roll. Hold on. There we go. Oh, goodness. Now I got a little bit more space to work with. Okay, do I want my final answer in inches? All right, well, I got to keep going. What has to be on the bottom of my next one? And here's where I'm going to use that distance gateway so I can convert inches to centimeters. So Jason M, does the 2.54 go on top or the bottom? Yeah, how do you know that? Right, because 2.54 goes with centimeters, and we already see that those are on top. There you go. We're almost done. We're almost done. Eli, do I want centimeters as my final unit?
No.
Nope. So that means I still got to keep going, but we're almost there. We're on our last step. So what goes on the bottom, Eli?
8.5. Or no, 1.
Units wise, units wise.
Oh, centimeters.
Yep, centimeters got to go on the bottom. What do I want to convert that into? Meters, because that's what the problem asks for. So Damon, does 100, so we're looking at this guy now. Does 100 go on top or bottom? On top or bottom? Look at. So it's 100 meters for every 1 centimeter? Yeah, the units will tell you. See how the 100s with the centimeters? See how organization will keep you from making a mistake? Okay. So here's what's going to happen. If I multiply all my numerators together. So here's what I'm doing. 25.5 times 5280 times 12 times 2.54 times 1. So plug that into your calculator. I'm going to do the same. So you're multiplying all the top numbers. 25.5 times 5280 times 12 times
4 million.
2.54 times 1. Yep, that's what I got too. So I got, I'll write it in green. I got 4,103,827. And I'll just go to the closest whole number. Good enough. I don't care about that 0.2 afterwards. Okay, and then here, let's see this. Michael, I bet you can do this for me in your head. What's 1 times 1 times 1 times 1 times 100? 100, right? Because 1 times anything is going to be the thing you multiply it by. And don't forget our meters are up top. So here's what we got to do. We're going to take our 4,100,000 something, divide by 100. And that will come out to be this. 41,038. It's 0.27 now. You keep that. If you keep the stuff after a decimal, I don't really care too much. I will teach you guys how to round later this unit, but don't worry about rounding too much right now. And that's meters. And what am I going to do with this final answer? Box it up. Now, in this worksheet, you guys can just write it right here. So I gave you a space for it. And that's that. So if you're watching this video at home, you can watch, or the answer key to this worksheet is right below the video. If you are in person, that pink sheet is your answer key. So do another problem or two and then check them with the pink answer key, all right? Get her going.